Over the past few months, I've been trying to work through a massive backlog of movies, shows, and games. But occasionally, I get an itch to check something out, and it jumps to the top of the list. Like rewatching all of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX for the first time in over a decade, or more recently, when I was recommended 2019's The Lighthouse. Hi my friends, I'm Mike and welcome to the Lions Lounge. The Lighthouse is a drama/horror film starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. And as you've probably already noticed from the clips, is presented in black and white with a 19:1 aspect ratio, meaning it's as if you're watching an old movie from the 1920s. This lends itself extremely well to the tone of the film, not only making the characters' affairs seem even more bleak, but also adding an extra layer of suspense to specific scenes. The movie opens with one of our main characters, Ephraim Winslow, portrayed by Robert Pattinson, arriving at a lighthouse to take up work as its keeper for a month, alongside the long-term veteran Thomas Wake, played by Willem Dafoe. Winslow is nearly immediately overwhelmed by all the tasks Wake relentlessly throws at him, and starts to hallucinate in his mounting fatigue, seeing monsters and mermaids, all the while growing a strong desire to see the top of the lighthouse that Wake mans and performs a nightly ritual to. So in short, this is a character-driven suspense film with two individuals stuck in a lighthouse. And the rest of the movie follows from there, which I'm going to warn we're now about to enter heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, give it a watch, then come on back, because at the end, I'll be making a cocktail inspired by a scene in the movie. So one thing I haven't quite mentioned yet is this film is super horny. These are two dudes stuck in a lighthouse together with nothing to do but stare at the sea. So it shouldn't surprise you that one of them finds a little mermaid statue and, does the tuggy-wuggy to it. Or that Wake's ritual involves him stripping in front of the light. Anywho, as the end of Wilson's stay approaches, he grows increasingly more restless, both in his relationship with Wake and after learning the lighthouse keeper's previous assistant was driven insane and died soon after. The pressure mounts, and Wilson eventually snaps and murders a seagull that had been bothering him up to this point, something Wake had warned against as he believed it was bad luck. And it appears that he was right. On the night Wilson is to be relieved, a massive storm strikes and he and Wake get drunk and pass out, only to find when they come to that the storm is still raging and the boat never came. Now faced with the possibility that it could be weeks before the next one, Wilson and Wake must ration their remaining food, and while they do find some emergency reserves hidden away, it's mostly just gin. They continue toiling away, drinking heavily every night, with Wilson's paranoia starting to take hold, causing him to attempt to murder Wake one night in his sleep. This all eventually comes to a head when, during an especially crazy drinking session, Wilson admits that his real name is in fact Thomas Howard, and that Ephraim Wilson was his former foreman at a mill who verbally abused Tom and was involved in an accident where the young man had a chance to save him, but chose to watch him die, causing Tom to change his name to hide his identity and to make a better life for himself. Tom and Wake are later assaulted by another massive storm, and in the aftermath, Tom finds Wake's logbook, which he then confronts the old man as the book slanders him and states that he should be fired without pay. In a rush of fury, Tom assaults Wake and attempts to bury him alive, but not before stealing Wake's lighthouse key. Just when he's about to ascend the tower, Wake appears with an axe and attacks him, but Tom disarms Wake and kills him, now finally free to climb the steps up to the top of the lighthouse that has troubled his mind all this time. Once he reaches the top, Tom sees the bright light, and it causes him to lose it completely, then tripping and tumbling all the way down to the bottom. A scene at the end showing a flock of seagulls gnawing at Tom's exposed organs. So yeah, this is definitely one of the weirdest films I've been recommended, but also one that's gonna stick with me. It's incredibly gripping, and its presentation makes it feel both intimate and alien at the same time. We don't typically get movies made this way anymore, but I can say it lends itself very well to the horror genre. Overall, this was a great movie with stellar acting from both Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. They really brought their A-game here. Now finally for my cocktail today, it was pretty easy for me to figure out what I wanted to base it on, as at one point during the film, the duo ran out of gin and started making some crazy concoction from turmeric and honey they call monkey pump. And that's all well and good, but I wanted to improve on this to make something more enjoyable. So I figured if they still had the gin and some other ingredients, they can make something truly special. And so here is my improved monkey pump. So this is gonna be a shake and drink, and you're gonna start with 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of a London dry gin. Next, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of lemon juice. Then ½ ounce or 15 milliliters of turmeric honey syrup. I'll make sure to leave the recipe in the description below, but this is basically just ground turmeric, honey, and water simmered for about 10 minutes. And then lastly, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Add some ice and shake for 12 seconds. Then add a big ice cube to a double old-fashioned glass and double strain into the glass. And lastly, I'm just gonna top this up with some ginger beer. And for garnish, I'm gonna use a little stalk of celery. And there you have the improved monkey pump. Cheers. Ooh, that is spicy. So when I first made this cocktail, I didn't include the ginger beer, and the turmeric was just a little too overpowering. Like ginger beer, the turmeric syrup is spicy, but I feel the sweetness from the ginger beer helps temper that turmeric a little bit. You still get the turmeric and the honey sweetness, but now it's not just turmeric. It's a combination of turmeric, ginger beer, and just a little bit of the botanicals from the gin. Turmeric and honey already goes really well together, and it also pairs well with ginger beer. Then adding something like the bitters gives it a bit more depth, and the gin gives it another dimension. Overall, this is kind of an alternative to a Moscow Mule in a sense, except instead of vodka, you're substituting gin, and instead of just the ginger beer, you're adding a turmeric honey syrup. So like a Moscow Mule, it's sweet and spicy, but there's multiple spices going on here, so it makes it very unique. And I have to say, I'm glad I didn't stick solely to the formula of the film, because honey and turmeric is a good combo, but I wouldn't want to drink it by itself. When I added the ginger beer for the first time, I finished the full glass, and I probably will finish this one too. So all in all, if you're looking for a variation to the standard Moscow Mule that adds other spicy components to it, I highly recommend this one. So today we made the improved monkey pump inspired by the Lighthouse. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a like, and if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any cocktails you'd like me to make from your favorite films, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see what I make outside this channel, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Space Lion or Instagram at Mr.Spacelion. But friends, thank you so much for stopping by the Lions Lounge. I've been your bartender, Mike, and I hope to see you next time.